And now, welcome back to a very special edition of Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel. I'm your host,
We're
Rachel.
just continuing this. Hey, so we have another thing to talk about, and it is one of Kelsey's favorite subjects.
It's chocolate, y'all.
And that's what big mega fight is out there on the horizon for Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor! Okay, but it's not... Listen, this is what the people want to know. They want to talk about Conor and who he's going to fight, and you know what?
So if you don't know, Kelsey covers combat sports, and one of the outlets he covers for is Heavy, and on that outlet, Kelsey gets paid by page views. Kelsey, what articles do people click on the most?
Conor McGregor. Easily
Conor McGregor, Joe Rogan.
But it's like Joe Rogan, Dana White.
Yeah.
John
Jones, yeah.
It just depends. Like now,
but Conor McGregor.
But it was the same thing in boxing. Floyd
like,
Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, back like 5 years ago or whatever. Same thing.
Yeah. I'm just explaining to people,
why we're so obsessed with Conor's fights.
Well, no, this is what people click on. Like
this is what the world is interested in.
I can't help that.
Yeah.
So tell them more about.
Okay, so Jake Paul, of course, is a YouTuber, very famous YouTuber. His brother Logan Paul is also an older brother. They've both turned to become professional boxers, right? Logan Paul fought KSI in his first pro bout. He lost that fight by decision. Jake Paul is 2-0 now. He fought a fellow YouTuber as well in his first fight, knocked that guy out. Then he knocked out ex-NBA star Nate Robinson on the Mike Tyson vs. Roy Jones Jr. pay-per-view card. Both of these guys, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, take their training very seriously. You can see it. You could see it before they were knocking people out. You could see just how they throw punches and them on the mitts and on the bag.
Especially when you consider how little experience they have.
It takes a lot of time.
There is no amateur background.
Right. It takes a lot of time to do that. And you can watch somebody do anything in boxing and tell pretty fast whether or not they're taking it seriously. 80% of the YouTube people didn't. These guys did. Now they're professional boxers. Well, Jake Paul wants to fight Conor McGregor in a boxing match. His brother Logan Paul wants to fight Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match. Smart. These guys know how to get attention. They know how to make money. They take their fighting very seriously. They're also about 30 to 40 pounds bigger than the guys they're calling out.
So I don't know if this is a real thing. I don't know if it's just like, hey, I'm going to call out Conor McGregor. I can say my people are talking to his manager because my people maybe sent him an email, called him. Like, whatever.
Tweeted at him.
And Conor McGregor's manager clearly is going to, like, his job is to get out there and network, right? So I don't put a lot of stock into that. So let's just erase all that, because I don't know how serious all that is.
Okay.
Let's just talk about Conor McGregor and Jake Paul. Is that a legitimate boxing match?
I mean, so Jake Paul, are you saying like competitively?
Tell us why it's not a good idea, Kelsey. Tell us why this just doesn't make any sense.
So Jake Paul's been training very hard for over a year now, and that's an amazing thing. Conor McGregor has been fighting his whole life. He's a professional of the highest order. He's a striker in UFC. He's a really, really good boxer. He can beat up just about any regular boxer on the street. That's not Floyd Mayweather, right? I'm saying he's a legit fighter. The level of skill that it takes to be a Conor McGregor and talent that Conor has, it takes a long time to acquire all that. Jake Paul hasn't had the time to do that. And so rushing into a fight like that, even if you outweigh the guy, that won't matter.
I think sometimes people might forget that. I don't know if Jake Paul has forgotten that about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, because of how he promotes himself, might seem similar to a Jake Paul in personality.
Not to me.
Well, where you're going to just say things because it'll get you a lot of attention.
Yeah, they're both really good at getting attention.
Yeah.
They're great at that.
So you might forget that Conor McGregor is actually a legitimate combat sports professional.
And he was working his butt off. Conor McGregor
was really, really good.
Had nothing. He was poor. And all he did was train and believe in himself and become one of arguably the biggest combat sports personality in the world today, and one of the most successful ones in history. You don't really want that smoke after 2 professional boxing fights, and really 3 boxing fights at all. He had 1 amateur fight that was against 2 YouTubers and against Nate Robinson, who's a great athlete, but Nate Robinson had never put on boxing gloves before and fought anybody before he fought Jake Paul.
No, can we just say how big of a jump that would be to go from the two pro fights he's had?
It's an absurd jump.
Conor McGregor.
It's an absurd jump. And if you think, I think really is, I think he knows that, right? I think he knows that he can't really beat Conor. But I think that unless he started to buy into the idea, maybe he feels confident. Maybe he thinks that the weight difference will matter. It will not matter. Boxing is skill. Is mostly skill, and the weight only matters when skill is even, right? It matters in the highest order of professional, in the top 1% of professionals it matters. Right. But why do you think Manny Pacquiao could win 8 world titles? Right? It's not because he was as big as guys, it's because he was better than them skill-wise and talent-wise. So
here's what I think.
Okay, tell me what you think.
I think Jake Paul calls out somebody like Conor McGregor who is like him in the way that they know how to get attention.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're out there calling out Conor McGregor, it is a way you can garner yourself a little bit of attention, right?
Oh, I would do it. I would do it all the time. Sometimes I think maybe I should call Conor McGregor just as a writer.
If you could challenge Conor McGregor to a write-off.
I don't really want that. I don't really want that smoke. I don't want Conor.
I mean, how would he not win? If it would be based on clicks? Or you'd have a judge. If you had a judge, like a Thomas Hauser, I feel like you'd win that.
If you challenge Conor McGregor,
if it was based on clicks, clearly he's going to win.
I don't know if I'd win if Thomas Hauser was a judge, but listen.
Oh, right.
If you challenge Conor McGregor to a write-off, he's probably going to beat you up. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a fighter.
Anyway, back to my point. Jake Paul calls this guy out who garners him some attention, right? He gets his name out there. But here's what happens is I think another opponent presents itself for Jake Paul. That's not Conor McGregor, but is somebody else.
I mean, if you were...
Who kind of like how Nate Robinson got in on...
Antonio Tarver.
How?
Antonio Tarver's been called... He wants that smoke. He wants to fight him. And now here's the thing about Antonio Tarver.
That's crazy.
How old is Antonio Tarver? He's 51, I think. He's old, so you've got that. He's old, but Antonio Tarver is legitimately 200 pounds. Okay, right. He's as big as you. He was a legit world champion. Skills pay the bills, and even that. If you really want to fight somebody like Conor, you should try to beat up somebody like Antonio Tarver first, who's older, who was a legitimate world champion. Because Antonio Tarver you probably don't beat Antonio Tarver. I think that's what the piece that people miss when they get into combat sports is how good those guys are at the highest level and how long it takes to get there. It's not like you can just start in 2 years fight Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, we just saw Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., who are of this class, right? This age class. And clearly, lots of people are going to lose to Mike Tyson.
You don't want to fight Mike Tyson either, yeah.
As he is now.
Lots of people are lose to Roy, too.
And lots of people will lose to Roy, because what I saw against Mike Tyson is I saw Mike Tyson winning that fight. Maybe I could watch it again and look really closely.
63-0 for Roy.
Okay.
Because I got the shirt. Oh, no. I thought I was wearing the shirt. No. Anyway,
I think... Tarver saying he wants some of Jake Paul.
You got any excuses tonight now?
That's definitely payday for Tarver, and he's going to win.
But he wouldn't fight Tarver because Tarver doesn't have the big name, right?
He wouldn't.
He does to us, but I'm saying in the regular sphere of humanity, people aren't oh, Antonio Tarver. He's not Muhammad Ali.
So his first opponent was a very popular YouTuber who I didn't know. I only know who Jake Paul and Logan Paul are through boxing. And then his second one was Nate Robinson, who I guess is also, because he was an NBA, slam dunk champion, was also a well-known celebrity. So you think Antonio Tarver, although a big celebrity in the niche sport of boxing, needs...
If I'm Jake Paul, I'm will I want to fight this person who is a gigantic risk on an undefeated record, but won't give me any pop? You know what I mean? He goes in there and gets rolled by Conor. Well, you fought Conor. Well, but you made $1 billion.
Not getting Conor, because in this whole thing that we talked about, my thought was bring up Conor, another opponent presents itself, and then you said Tarver.
Well, I'm just saying Tarver wants that fight. Yeah, I'm all about it.
Is there anybody else out there though
who wants the fight?
Who would we match? Not Conor.
A legitimate fight.
Who do we see Jake Paul being in there against next?
I think Jake Paul is looking for somebody that has a big name like Nate Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Jake Paul's, for where he's at in his boxing career, he looks really good, right? He's doing the thing.
What if he fought? You're gonna have to wait till I remember his name because I have forgotten it. Who's the guy? Oh, I can just see him in my head. Okay, the very fast runner from Jamaica.
Usain Bolt?
Usain Bolt. What if he fought Usain Bolt?
I mean, does Usain Bolt want to fight?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Just somebody famous?
Yeah, like who would be like a potential third fight for Jake Paul out there that would meet his criteria? Because we're saying Antonio Tarver doesn't meet the criteria. He wants to fight. He doesn't meet the criteria, maybe. I mean, this is all imaginary.
What about, could he fight Oscar?
Again, do you think that's big enough?
Like physically large enough?
No.
Yeah, Oscar De La Hoya?
Name.
Yeah.
He was definitely mainstream.
De La Hoya was the star of his era, so that's big enough, but I don't know if he's physically large enough. But since when does that matter?
Yeah, because he fought at welter. Well, because and that's what I'm telling you. He's just calling out Conor just because.
I think if Jake Paul wants to make a statement and be like, put his name on the map, you call out Tyson Fury for the heavyweight championship of the world, and you go get that smoke, baby. Now imagine.
Because he could fight at heavyweight, huh?
He's like 199 pounds. Like, he's basically heavyweight.
He could be
yeah.
Usyk and going up to heavyweight.
Anthony Joshua, baby. No. I don't know. I mean, he's going to fight somebody, and I think that he definitely takes the fighting seriously, and he's good at it. So I'm all for it. Mike Tyson said that boxing should thank the YouTubers because boxing was dying, and they're helping the sport. And I think I agree. Like, I think that it does expose people that maybe otherwise wouldn't look at boxing to boxing. And look, Logan Paul and Jake Paul are a great example of people that are like, oh, I like this. I mean, they even changed their lives for it. We need more people for that if boxing is to become the bell cow of our lives. That's right, okay. I just worked a bell cow in.
You've used the bell cow like more than once, and I don't even, that's a thing? Bell cow?
You put the bell on that. It's like, ding, ding, I'm the best cow.
I know what a cowbell is. You know, made famous by dairy farmers, I guess.
Oh, and now you know about dairy?
SNL. But I've never heard the backwards usage.
What about the bell of the bull?
The bell cow. I don't know. All right.
Is there another bell thing I can use?
I don't know.
Is bell cow not a thing?
I don't know. I've never heard it.
Wait, that's a phone. Hello? What happened?
All right. We're done here.
He should fight Joe Rogan. That is the perfect fight. Joe Rogan's old, but he's a legitimate... Like, Joe Rogan's legitimately trained
He doesn't want that at all.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Oh, he wants that smoke. He told me.
Whatever.
He's gonna fight him. I know Joe.
That's not even a thing.
Well, not the Joe Rogan. I know
stand
by
Joe
Rogan,
Usain Bolt, guys.
Who's not. So there you have it. You heard it here first. This is kind of breaking news. Jake Paul versus Usain Bolt.
Or Tarver, or Joe Rogan.
Or Joe Rogan, but not the Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan, I know, not the famous Joe Rogan. Also, his last name isn't Rogan.
All right.
I just call him.
It's
done. Joe Rogan.
We're ending this. We're ending it.